I could go either way with it. And maybe I'm just being dramatic. Maybe I'm just making stuff up. Maybe I'm just like seeing thoughts and I'm grabbing them out of thin air when maybe there's really nothing there to begin with. And I'm just manifesting this big delusion of my experience and what I'm actually thinking and what was happening before and what actually happened when I experienced live streaming for the first time. And so there's a lot of questions here. There's a lot of things to think about. There's a lot of scabs on my brain after the wounds of what was left behind. What happened before? The things I've seen, the people I witnessed, and what's going on now. Cuz it seems like good things never last forever, you know? Eventually things have got to die. Things change, man. Sometimes you might be able to throw a good hook in, but then next year you might just be a nobody, just like you were before. But maybe there's no difference of you now and you then. Nonetheless, these are just one of the things that this is just one of the things that sent me on a spiral and opened my eyes to what was going on in the gaming industry. And when this first started to happen, when I first started experiencing live streaming, I was discussing some things with some people in games. And I was talking. Sometimes I would have like these conversations with people. And that's the amazing thing about games is you can go in and talk to someone about whatever sometimes. And you find the right person, the right moment, and you can just have this conversation, And I think sometimes people would get a little bit taken off guard by what I thought, and they almost didn't know what to think. I don't even know if they remember the things I was saying to them, because I remember it. I remember it was like a tumor in my brain, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew until it just busted open into my imagination, and there was so much color, there were so much thought, there was so many voices, not voices in my head, but there were so many opinions. You know what I mean? Yeah, there was a voice in my head. I was crazy. Just kidding. But anyways, so when I first started to watch live streaming, people streaming games live, I noticed how good some of them were. First of all, and that alone just, you know, I was living in my own little world. And yeah, I could go look at the leaderboards and all this, but here it is. This person right here. I can watch them. I can see their face, how they talk, how they move. Everything is right there. And this person is playing better than me, these popular people, depending on what time you want to talk. And games are kind of complicated. It really depends on who you're playing against, you know, how good you're playing on that particular day, and how good the other guy's playing on that particular day, because, the typical gamers, has a lot of you have a lot of tools at your disposal to blame. You can blame your teammates, you can blame this or that, and a lot of the time, the teammates are to blame. They really are, but then sometimes you're to blame. Anyways, I wasn't trying to get into the whole blame conversation, but a lot of my experience has been just terrible teammates and not being able to find some people to play with regularly that were decent and as committed as me. I should have did a little bit more searching. I should have found some. I should have found the chosen ones. But no, whenever I started to watch other people, and this thing that was so sacred to me, this thing that I did, and I felt connected to, and I would spend so many hours on, is now being exploited in a new way, you know? And I was competitive. I was competitive. I was casual slash competitive slash whatever. I wasn't really trying to play any competitions or anything. I never cared about that. I never even paid attention to that stuff. You know, it was never really concerned to me. And I guess the reality of the situation is like I'm a pretty good player, you know what I mean? But as soon as you start comparing yourself, it's like you just open your eyes to this unforeseeable evil and you can't look away. And then you're constantly stuck with the reality, of that truth, of the facts in front of you, which just rips people to shreds, man. And I think it's the same thing with a lot of different things. And I guess, you do come to kind of accept a lot of it and just grow up and like, I know a lot of people, they end up growing up and they're just like regular people. They almost don't even really strive for too much in life because the way that they see things, they're just going to work their job and take care of their family, whatever. I don't know. It's kind of weird to me to even think that someone wouldn't try to do something more with their life. Like I don't even understand how people could even do that. Just live a normal life, which is weird to me to think, how people just kind of, oh, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to make some money and work over here and have kids and I'm going to teach them right and raise them well so they can go to college. And that's kind of the whole thing, with you know, the way that I think is, I think so much differently than people. And you know, for me, I'm not like every typical gamer out there because it's kind of weird because I've been kind of typical before, but that was when I was younger. I was kind of just living in my own world, not caring. And as I got older, I started to think about it a lot more and just think about how pointless it is and how much time I'm wasting. And I'm like, dude, you need to do other things, dude. Like you look at how much time you spent on this, you know? And, it's crazy because some people can, make money and succeed in the gaming world, even though it's very difficult. But I mean, you can. You can succeed. Most people probably won't, even if they're really skilled. Which is kind of ironic too, because it's like, you go look at the streams and stuff, and there's a lot of good players out there. There's a lot of players you probably never even hear them speak a word, unless you run a game with them and they said something or whatever. Like there's a lot of people that play games that are probably, disconnected to the live streaming world, you know, in general, disconnected from, probably a lot of stuff on social media cuz that's the way I was before. I was kind of the gamer that was like, I'm gonna play and I'm gonna have fun and this is what I like to do. I don't care. I'm getting lost in this. It's addicting. It feels good. It's, I'm experiencing something that's impossibly real. You know what I mean? Like this could never happen in real life. And you know, and I think that realizing how good someone else was, and not only that, they can not only play the game, but they have actually got people watching them. They have fans. People like them. You know what I mean? People like them, man. You know what I mean? And of course, the whole streaming spectrum, the up and down. People go up and down in the entertainment industry. Of course, like who knows how it's going to be in 10 years? Like all the people I pay attention to, I have no idea what the hell that's going to turn into. There's going to be so many things that happen with it. Like people are going to rise up, and who knows what's in the making right now. You know what I mean? 5 years is a lot of time for things to happen. 10 years, that's a lot of time. Like the human race, so many things happen in that amount of time. And so anyways, yeah, I think that it kind of took me out of that experience. And and that's what I was saying, at the beginning of the video. Is like I don't know, am I just crazy? Or did everything that I had before just get exploited and blown up in my face? And that's what happens with everything, you know? Like think about like football and stuff. It was probably like people used, I don't know, like it has a long history, but like people would play stuff just to have fun and just to do something. And then you get into the professional aspect of it and you get into entertainment, and it's just like, you know what I mean. I think that you know it's kind of crazy to think about, when you have your eyes on every single soul in the world. There's a lot of people in the world, but when you just see the people at the top, I mean like see all the people at the top, it's like, I almost think it's a little bit degrading. It almost like shrinks you down to size and tells you like, hey, dude, you know, you're almost not even justified in feeling good on that game because you might think you're good at times, but you know how many people are just like you who play games probably mediocrely and think they're just like king shit, and it's just like you're almost living in a movie, and like an action movie. Like you watch an action movie and the actor, and the whole sequence makes you feel good. It's supposed to make you feel good that this person was able to physically do this stuff and, win at the end and all of that. And it's essentially a load of crap. And I think that gamers are searching for that happy ending, though. They're searching for that kind of I won at the end. You're trying to write your own story by outplaying other people, you know what I mean? Like, but you got to work for it. And that's kind of the cool thing about um gaming is you don't always get the happy ending. You get the bad end. You get all of the endings, which is crazy because you get the loser ending and the winner ending, which is kind of interesting because I think there's a lot of people out there, you read books, you watch movies, TV shows, and you're always getting that happy ending. You're always getting the best possible circumstances and situations to align with your interests and how you think it should go. But when you see that a million times, you see so many shows and movies and you read so many stories or whatever, it just, it's so repetitive, and that's kind of what happens with gaming too. You see the same stories so much and, you know, and when is it going to be interesting again, but so there's a lot that I could say here, but all I know is gaming used to be better. It used to be my friend. It used to be something that I could just call to. And this is probably more of a me problem than other people, but other people might have the same problem. But if you kind of think about what I'm saying a little bit, it's like almost to watch a streamer, watch someone who's better than you, watch someone who's funnier than you, someone who's more popular, someone who's like, getting paid for it and all of this, and to just, go try it yourself and just to see the reality of the situation, like you ain't shit, dude. And I'm not saying that like, you know, honestly, if I look at like my competitive career of gaming and stuff, a lot of basically my number one problem was like keeping consistently finding good players that I could play with. And so basically my a lot of my statistics were reflected around me getting into matches with random people and then playing with other random people and then them not being good or being good sometimes. So all around, you know, to get the best results, you want to play with a good team. And I just think, a lot of people are trying to play to disconnect and stuff. And, I don't know. It's kind of a crazy thing to think about because you're almost trying to connect to something, but then you're kind of disconnected. But, the more you play games, the more you realize there's how many people are like you, which is kind of crazy because when you play a game, you have a common denominator, you have a common interest, you have a common goal, which is pretty interesting how you could just like hop into a game with someone you don't even know. But but really just, what it's all kind of turned into and just, I think that you can just as well just look away from it. But, for me, it's like once I start thinking about something, once I start paying attention to something, once my brain locks on, it's hard for me to just, close my eyes or whatever. Like me, I kind of, kind of like a critical thinker who kind of takes his thoughts to the extreme and stuff. And kind of a problem because, you overthink, you overstress, over anxiety, everything, just taken so far, you overload yourself. But anyways, you know, what kind of happened is kind of hard for me to put the pieces together and say, something did happen, but I'm pretty sure the reality is when you watch all these these players and just so successful and just in every aspect, and you go to play the game and you want to feel like that, you know gladiator, or whatever, you want to feel like that soldier, or that kind of like you are something, you know and that's kind of the idea around it, is like I am something here. I'm doing something here. Even though it's not real to begin with, so I guess you could just put it in that respect. It's all just bullshit anyway. But, it's like I feel power here. It empowers you, you know what I mean? And so I think whenever, you have all these streamers and you have all these like ridiculously successful people, and you're just like, damn, like, and it just gets exploited to the fullest extent, and it's because that's what happens with games when people get bored. Like, just, I mean, people get bored and people get bored, and then they have a new thing to do, and then it turns into flexing and all sorts of flexing, drama, comedy, chill chill streams, but I'm just saying there's so many aspects of it, and it just gets exploited to the fullest extent. And so, like, my gaming experience has changed, and I've, especially attempting to stream, just understanding it's almost like I'm not even doing it for me anymore. When I played a game before, I was never concerned about trying to satisfy anybody. All I knew was if I could kill the guy in the game, or someone, if I could win in the game, whatever game I'm playing, and PvP, then that gives you the direct satisfaction of that one person. But how significant is that when you look at someone and they're just super popular and successful, and it's and I think it kind of is almost like the whole like Hollywood gives you candy and you keep coming back type thing, or the whole kind of like the whole Hollywood lie thing, like, yeah, you're the best. Yes, you got something special. Yes, you are great. And then, you know, and that I know that's how it goes for a lot of people in Hollywood, especially like getting into the movie industry and stuff. You know, you're an actor, you have a dream. Or, and this applies to really anything like this, but and then you just you get your dreams shattered. Everything just, things don't work out for you. And they might work out for a small percentage, but for the most part, people don't really ever get to live the experience that they want to, whether it be by talent or lack of hard work, you know? So, besides that, though, and I think that that's kind of what happened, where it's like, yes, why don't you stream? Let you stream, and let's show everyone, let's empower ourselves with the stream and up our gaming experience, and then it just becomes this addiction. It becomes this thing where it's like, hey, dude, it's almost like someone just put a hand on your shoulder and be like, it's okay, you know, like, you didn't know, like you didn't know how bad you actually were, or that no one cared at all that you were good at this thing. But even though but I think it's still, you still get the satisfaction of winning in the game. You know what I mean? Like, if you beat someone in the game, but it's the same perspective for everyone. It seems like whenever you lose, you just move on to the next one, and I don't know. It's, you get some sense of purpose out of it. And I think that sense of purpose kind of diminishes when you just look at how good and successful other people are at this in the gaming world. So for me to kind of get so wrapped up into it in a different way has brought me, back to like who I was originally. Like, what the hell am I even doing anymore? I'm live streaming for other people. I'm fucking doing a different thing here. This is not gaming, man. This is not gaming like how I used to do when I was a kid and I used to fucking game. I used to game because I was having fun. I wasn't even trying to fucking be better than anyone, you know? And it did take on that form, competitively, but it's just crazy to think about how you could become so almost transform and mutated into something that you're not, you know? And I think that's kind of what happens when people kind of, you get exposed to streaming, and it's a whole different thing, it is actually different from a gaming, like your gaming experience and what's happening with the streams and streamers and the streaming experience and what they're doing with video games. It's kind of probably not good to combine them in a way that you almost ruin your own experience. But it's almost like it just happened inevitably. And I'm not trying to say it's anybody's fault. I'm not trying to say that, you know, like I'm a victim or anything. I'm just saying that's how it kind of happened. And then it's almost like you come to and you're like, who am I? What the hell am I doing? Just play some games, dude, you know? And streaming is just its own thing too. And that's another thing you have to consider. And like I said, it really is different from actual gaming in a lot of ways. Um but I guess it's like a sidebar. It's kind of like a side experience. And there's a lot more I can say here, but that's all I'm pretty much gonna say on the topic. So have a good one.